take time. Internet allows you to even reach out. I remember first time I tweeted about Marcus Buckingham book, I got a response from Marcus Buckingham himself. Maybe it's an auto reply or whatever, but so internet allows you to do that. So I was very excited. 2008 when I found that, okay, there was an audio book which you talked about, and I said, okay, this is an audio book, this is a link, and the team sent me a message, thank you for doing that. So it is possible to reach listen from the horse's mouth. And there are people already doing that. You can follow those people and connect with them and keep learning, and let's make these things much better with science and evidence.
Hi and welcome to another episode of the People Hum interview series. I'm your host Sneha Murthy, and let's begin with a quick introduction of People Hum. People Hum is an end-to-end, one-way integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Coady Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the People Hum blog and video channel, which receives upwards of 200,000 visitors a year, and publish around 2 interviews with well-known names globally every month. And now for our guest, we have with us today Anish Aravind, the co-founder and principal consultant at SS Consulting Kochi. Anish is an HR professional with over 21 years of experience across industries such as manufacturing, FMCG, IT product, and ITES industry segments. Currently, he leads HCM and organization effectiveness practice at his company. Anish's versatile practice areas are concentrated around employee experience, employer branding, leadership development, organization communication, learning and development, recruitment, talent strategy, and many more. He's motivated by solving business problems by weaving people interventions in the aforementioned areas. Since 2015, his focus has been on enabling IT SME ecosystems in Kerala by enabling IT entrepreneurs and business leaders to generate results from their talent by improving the organization effectiveness. We're extremely happy to have someone of his stature on our interview series today. Welcome, Anish. We're thrilled to have you.
Thank you. My honor and pleasure to be part of this initiative.
It's absolutely our pleasure, Anish. So, jumping right into the interview, could you tell us about your company and your work as co-founder at SS Consulting?
Sure. Thanks for that. So some bit of a context for the company. So I was working. I had come back to Kerala after about stints across the country in various companies, and set up as the first employee of US company, which is setting up its captive software development center in Kochi. And they have chosen Kochi for a lot of reasons, which are also related and exciting for me as well as somebody from Kerala. I was also coming back and planning to come closer home to my parents and settling down here. So it was a very well timed move for me. And after about 6.5 years of setting it up, growing that company, and so we were up to we hired about 500 people. It was a IT product line, so it is not the number of people that you know, but the feature of the product that you do. So it was building a lot of internal products. The company already had about 100 plus patents. It was set up in 1964, the parent company. So when our jobs were kind of going away after the acquisition, because because it was getting part of this, so the employees' jobs didn't go because employees we transitioned out to the vendor of the acquiring company. So all the employees except the top leaders, basically, we're all. So we were in the process of looking at, okay, what needs to be done next. And luckily for us, there were people who were reaching out to us in the initial or after the initial 2 to 3 year period, when they saw that there's something good happening here from an employer branding space. And because when we came in, Arbitron as a company, it was Arbitron India to set up. Arbitron was not known in the country. So we had to do the whole employer branding piece separately. I had to learn branding as well, because as an HR person, I did not know that kind of a depth on branding. So I had to kind of start learning it, because we didn't have a marketing team here, because the business didn't happen out of India. So it was so long story short, we set up, and after about 3 years, they knew that, okay, so we were known as the Google of Kerala, so with the local talent. So to reach that spot in 2.5, 3 years was good. So those companies from our friendship circle, CXOs, and so my CEO was part of a tech CEO forum. So from there, we used to get requests, and if anything is related to HR, he used to come to me, and I would go and support those companies pro bono basis, no fees or stuff, but it will be weekends or calls and stuff, advices, typically around employer branding, those areas which we are doing there. So question will be like, how are you getting talent? We're not getting talent. You want product company talent. You're getting this talent. Why are we not getting it? So those kind of questions would come in. And so those companies reached out to us in the end of 2014 saying that now you guys are available. Now this thing is going away. So why don't you get into it? So that was the origin of SS Consulting. So my ex-boss, there's the CEO of Arbitron India, and myself, and there were a few others as well at that point of time. So majority of them who've come out and of the leadership team there. That's how we set this up. So the way the work happened because of the fact that we were in the SME sector ourselves, right? So when we initially set these things up, there was not much of an ecosystem around for us. If you want a vendor, you have to find a vendor from, let's say, training vendor or mentorship or leadership development vendor. All have to come from a Chennai or a Bangalore or places. So I had to reach out to all my contacts across the country to get them here. So, and then we built our own vendors with the ecosystem here in the 2 to 4 year period. So this was about 6.5 years. So we knew some of these challenges here, and by then we had set up some of those ecosystems. So those are ready to kind of be transplanted to other firms which we are trying to support. So that's how we got in, and most of the work happened through referral clients. So the references used to come from the Arbitron India days, as then the ones right now, for example, last 2 to 3 years, it's all from the current clients of ours. So they will say, okay, something has happened. So when they are network, they will say that, oh, you were like this. What happened now? You have now grown. How did you grow? Those kind of questions come up, and then they will say, oh, these people are there. They come in and help. So that's how it came up. And we realized that there is a need for a framework which needs to be brought in, and the latest from SS Consulting and is a framework which we have launched which we have soft launched on our website. There's a good agile and behavioral scientist friend, agile coach and behavioral scientist friend of ours named Vinish, and he has another organization, Elegant Y. So both of us have teamed up and launched. So the need was we crystallized into something which is agile because it's all IT, SME, and I love the product side of it. Not that service is bad of it, but I love the product side. So agile plus an HR for predictable results, with predictable results. This is very important. It can't be like not the feeling kind of a stuff, but so so we coined we designed the 7C framework. And that we have launched. It is on the website now as hrscatalyst.com. That is the latest from. So we have left it there. We want to see who are the ones who are coming out. It's people searching about it, and this is so that's what we've been doing over the last. We are into the 6th year, and personally, I have started another venture which is into. This whole employer branding, the whole journey has got me connected into marketing in a different level, especially with the internet-related marketing. So that's why some batchmates of mine got together and formed another company called Marketing Analysis Research Solutions, which is also, which has kind of had to pivot completely on this pandemic period. We launched it in Jan-Feb, and then April, you know what happened. So we had to kind of completely redesign an approach, and we are investing in certain different areas. We are getting into some product design for again B2C area. So we are excited about that. So that's about SS and what we do.
Wow, that's amazing. It's been a complete roller coaster journey for you, like right from learning new things to setting up an entire venture. It's been amazing. It's inspiring a lot.
It's exciting, yes. Great learning for me.
Yes, definitely. Also, I read that you mentioned that for about 5 years now, your focus has been varied across small and medium enterprises, right? So, in your experience, do small enterprises require a different approach than that needed in a medium enterprise?
Yes. So again, as a context, let me say why is SME or MSME special? This is from an Indian perspective. South India is where we have worked, but we have seen across the country as well with my classmates and others who are working with them. So if you look at the post-liberalization era, that's when most of these people who are working in that post-liberalization era are the ones who are setting up companies in this sector, SMEs in the space that I am working in. So imagine somebody who's in a TCS or such a huge company, IT company, just in the top 25 IT companies, so 10,000, 1 lakh employees and all. They would have seen certain aspects as HR or marketing or in that area. Okay. This company would have because of being a conglomerate, it will have a huge set of operations. The corporate office might be leading a lot of those things. The subsidiary where this person would have been working may not get the whole aspect unless they are really, let's say, a decentralized kind of approach. So when these people form new companies, whatever they've seen there is their HR. Okay, so typically the thing is, okay, people approach me and say that, okay, we want to start a startup, so you give me an appointment letter format and you give me some labor law compliance and everything. So I would say, sorry, that's not the type of thing I do. So let us, which is why we do only referral camp, because that's the start. So when Arbitron came up, I was the first employee to be hired. So they knew that, okay, talent attraction requires more than the job description. So we spend about 3 to 6 months to set up the initial elements of those culture. What do we want the organization to look like? What is the employee value proposition you want? And all those stuff was my first 3 to 6 month job. We were hiring slow. We had the leaders at that point of time. When we went to the employees, only after we had the leadership team ready, then we went out and the cultural piece is ready. And then we said, okay, this is what is our offering. Why don't you join us? And this is the journey we're going to go. As MSMEs and SMEs miss this step. So what we are seeing when I go and solve problems as a kind of a doctor, what we do is we try and figure out why is it that a company has this headache or heartache or a cancer or whatever, and then we try and provide solutions for that. So this is why SME from an Indian context is very special. And I, from the experience, would say that it requires a much more connected approach. You can't just throw a structure at SMEs and say it will work. It will not work. So it will become more complex. So you have to get into real conversations and that's where HR tech can really help. I've seen, and that's where maybe companies like yours can have a huge opportunity. And there are some of these, and they have very good revenue models as well available. So it's not that the SMEs don't have the ability to pay. But they spend money on a lot of other, I would say, unwanted stuff because they're not setting or designed it well. In the last couple of years, they've followed a lot of us followed what we're doing, and then when somebody who's trying to set up new are now reaching out to us, so that this can happen on the first day onwards. So one of the companies I've also become an investor now. So that company I've now helped set up the thing from scratch. So some of those aspects, it's a very small company, but again, the same challenge. Okay, so this to me is the difference, and usually missed out. And so if we do the design better, then we end up solving less problems later, or the growth phases are stuck.
Right, that makes so much of sense. Like we cannot just follow a particular structure, for we can design it on our own and just follow it. We need to understand the problem in order to completely design specifically for it. I completely agree to that.
Absolutely.
And coming down to the current scenario globally, you someone from the industry, how do you think HCM is now on the rise, like especially because of the pandemic?
Okay. So as a follower of or fellow learner of HCM journey since 1997, I feel that majority of HR teams have, for a variety of reasons, miss the depth approach. Approach that can make HR predictable or measurable in the last 20 years specifically. And it has kind of moved away from the science-based or evidence-based approach. And that is some of the root causes of a lot of problems that being faced. And so it is being restricted to, approaches are restricted to, okay, I feel it should do, we should do this, or we as a group feel we should do this. So whereas the same feeling and behavior as a concept, there's a huge amount of knowledge that has been come about and that has gone deeper because of invasive methods of technology in science. Now you can actually get into the brain and study where the blood is flowing, where the temperature is going, what happens. All those things is now available especially after 2000 onwards. Right? There's huge amount. So those studies are not being put to use as material to plan or design your HR and people and other systems now. So that is the biggest opportunity. If I take 3 or 4 areas, evolutionary biology, behavioral economics. 2000 is when Dr. Kahneman got the Nobel Prize for behavioral economics, and from there it became popular. So it's not that, so Nobel Prize is given to something that would have happened at least for 7 to 8 or 10 years. So that means it has been there for a while. Even after 2000, people, if you look at, let's say, take 100 HR people, and I don't think even now it has become a syllabus as a separate or an elective in some of the best institutes in the country. So that is why we are missing out on it. And so now coming to the pandemic, pandemic has given us the opportunity to reconnect to science. There is no way non-scientific stuff can work in this thing. Vaccine has to. Everybody now knows there is a vaccine. There was a lot of anti-vaxxers who now become converted to maybe vaccination freaks now because of this fact. And that is a good opportunity. Similarly, HR and the science approach that we could have got earlier. Most of the HR people now are more ready to kind of look at or explore some of those areas which I was talking about, which were missed out. And personally, I see a lot of excitement around purpose-based approaches, which some of the global popular firms are taking. Even if you cut away all the PR, there is a lot of conceptual depth on which it is based. So that will get spread is my hope, and I'm excited about getting some of those to my SME clients. So I think it is we are in a very positive and exciting time.
Wow, that's love. I love the fact how you connected HR and science together. It completely brings it out a different perspective altogether.
Thank you.
So narrowing down a little bit, during this pandemic, as everyone is working across the globe, and locked inside their home, we realize the importance of employee engagement, and it has become the need of the hour, right? So what has your experience been in that area, and what strategies you have used yourself?
To me as a professional, I first connected to this in the early 2000s time. That was the time when that Gallup Q12 had come out, 99. And I followed that closely. I, in fact, ended up meeting Mr. Buckingham, Marcus Buckingham, who wrote the book in 2015. I met him in person during the SHRM event, so there were some discussions around. So, and the science from the time the book was written, and now there's I think Gallup's, I think Rodman it is, who wrote another book named Widgets. I'm not getting the name now. So that is another 12. So if it is 12, Q12, and now this person has written widgets, 12 widgets, so 12 rules for employee engagement. So if you see, the science has been upgraded. So when Marcus Buckingham and Kurt Kaufman writing the book, neuroplasticity was not so well established as a concept, and or not proven or something. Whereas now it is. So now the whole piece of employee engagement is to take away fear from people. So how do you take away fear? You give them access to things, freedom, empowerment oriented. So the whole my case model would be to look at a strong value proposition, employee value proposition, or EVP as a base, then move the piece to a employee experience. So that, and the interesting part is now it is not entry to exit, it has become intention to exit. By intention, I mean intention to join, let's say, PeopleHum or Arbitron, or so intention. So the candidate experience onwards it starts. So engagement really starts even before or the design should start even before the person reaches the or becomes an employee. So intention to exit cycle, and even exit it doesn't stop because there's an alumni who can actually bring back more people and even connect to the employee experience even as an alumni. So EVP to EX cycle is what I would look at, and then what happens is other things like motivation and culture and all those becomes a subset within the EVP. So it is much easier, and it will become another enabler in the employee value in the employee experience. So that's in fact, that's the framework that we came out with. It has all those elements mapped in. And the interesting part is that the new age entrepreneurs want things, or they're more likely to connect to things which are measurable. We can't say, okay, touchy feeling and stuff like which HR used to be for a lot of people. That doesn't really work now, because now you have data and you can make informed decisions with data and data to knowledge to wisdom, that kind of a level we can do information, knowledge, wisdom. So that is what I would bring in for employee engagement. So it's again science-based and evidence-based approach, which can be measured.
Right, that's amazing. Like, you just not need to take care of the employee engagement within the organization when employees are there. You need to take care of them before joining and after leaving. That's the impact that you create about your organization.
They become better employees. You hire well, that means you don't really need to put a lot of attention on retention. The one point I missed out was that, see, when I was in my student days, in the organization behavior textbook, in the motivation factors, there was something like very small 2 or 3 lines or a paragraph, if I remember right, written in the organizational behavior book about there was various theories of motivation. And then you said one part was the work itself. So it was only less than a paragraph. Post 2000, if you see, work itself has become the maximum powerful to engagement. So you take any generation, that is how it's been. But maybe the PR and the other things that happened before the 90s or we missed this out. It is not that it was not there. So somebody had the thing too. Seth Luthans and others wrote it down as work itself. But right now, everything, the EVP, everything is centered around work. So as a candidate, you attract them for the work. So on your career side and everything, if you look at the top companies, they've already been doing that for the last 20, 30 years. Maybe forever. Even if the 100-year-old companies like GE and others who have been there, they've been doing this. They say, this is the work you need to do. So people who are excited about that work join or apply.
Absolutely.
So you don't really need to spend a lot of time in motivating them after they join. So that's the piece on my take on employee engagement.
Thank you so much. It was amazing. It was amazing to learn fresh new concepts. It's amazing.
My pleasure. I'm also learning on these with myself.
So Anish, before wrapping up the interview, lastly, do you have any sound bites for our audience?
Okay, being myself a learner, I think my excitement would be to, I always say, keep looking for learning and seek depth in whatever you touch, because there is a lot, the breadth and the PR will always be there. That's what will hit you first. With any concept or anything that you come up, the first thing would be your marketing and collaterals and all. That is what will come to you. But take time. Internet allows you to even reach out. I remember first time I tweeted about Marcus Buckingham book, I got a response from Marcus Buckingham himself. Maybe it's an auto reply or whatever, but so internet allows you to do that. So I was very excited. 2008 when I found that, okay, there was an audio book which you talked about, and I said, okay, this is the audio book, this is the link. And the team sent me a message, thank you for doing that. So it is possible to reach listen from the horse's mouth. So thanks to the internet. So I would suggest and there are people already doing that. You can follow those people and connect with them and keep learning, and let's make these things much better with science and evidence.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anish, for taking the time to talk to us. It was a wonderful interview, and I loved talking to you. It had a lot of
My
learning
pleasure.
experience for me as well.
My pleasure, Sneha. Great talking to you.
Thank you so much, and I wish you and your business all the best.
Thank you, and all the best to People Hum team as well. Thanks for reaching out, and all the very best to you once again.